Hi, my name is Balázs Kél and I'm the head of AI research in Huawei's Noah's Ark lab in Paris. So this is a short video teaser for our paper in the 2020 NeurIPS offline reinforcement learning workshop. The paper is about model-based microdata reinforcement learning. The two questions we ask are what models to choose and based on what criteria. If you'd like to have more information about this, please check out the links below this video. So first, some context. One of the main research subjects in our lab is to build autopilots for engineering systems. We can make these systems better, faster, more reliable, safer, or more energy efficient using reinforcement learning. So we are typically working on systems like the control system of data center cooling or the system that manages the connections either in the wireless antenna or in a Wi-Fi network. So what makes these systems special, these engineering systems special? So first, they are usually physical, which means they are not getting faster with time, unlike computers. Second, they are tightly controlled by systems engineers whose principal goal is to keep these systems running in safely. So this means that we have to build good control policies based on small offline data. But then we have the hope to iterate with the systems engineers in a very slow iteration. So typically, one iteration of policy validation and new data taking may take weeks to months. So this puts our application somewhere between offline and online RL. We can call it slow offline RL, slowly iterated offline RL, or slowly growing batch RL. So model-based reinforcement learning is considered one of the best approaches in this microdata regime. But there are two other advantages. The first is that it fits well the work process which we can hope to implement within the constraints of an engineering system. And the second one is even more interesting, is that the systems engineer can actually validate the model that we learn, the simulator, on its own without plugging it into the dynamic system, and this can increase their trust in the full process. As the first step of this longer-term research plan, we decided to study and compare generative models in a rigorous experimental setup on the well-known Acrobat system. So first, we fixed the planning agent to random shooting because we found it working very well on the real system. Then we defined two dynamic metrics, the mean asymptotic reward and the convergence speed, and four static metrics which we could use to evaluate the models on static traces, mainly to tune and to select them. So these were likelihood, explained variance, outlier ratio, and calibratedness. Finally, we also defined 7 software requirements that a practicing data scientist may find important. This included things like robustness and debuggability, or the ability to model different types of system observables. So what did we find? First, although this was not our primary motivation, we did improve the state-of-the-art sample complexity on the Acrobat system by multiple folds, 2 to 4 folds, depending on where you look at the curve. Second, on what we call the raw angles Acrobat system, this is the system where the angles were not converted to sine and cosine. So we had jumps at minus pi and pi. The only model that worked well was mixture density nets. Why? Because they were the only ones who could represent the multimodal posterior predictive needed in this system. Third, on the Syncos Acrobat system, so this was the system where the angles were converted into smooth sine and cosine function, we did not need multimodal posterior predictive, so other techniques like variational autoencoders also worked well. Furthermore, and this is probably the most interesting finding in our paper, we found that we didn't even need probabilistic models on this system. We could just use the mean of the posterior predictive as the prediction and use a deterministic model to predict the system behavior but only if the model was trained with the heteroscedastic log likelihood matrix and at training time. So this is really surprising because heteroscedastic models are considered to be good when the noise in the system is actually heteroscedastic, but Acrobot is a noiseless system. So we are still wrapping our head around this finding. We have no theoretical explanation for this, but the experimental data is solid, it's reproducible, and it definitely needs some more investigation in the future. Overall, we found that deep autoregressive mixture density nets are the best models for this kind of systems. They are not only optimal on both Acrobot systems, but they are also flexible. We can flexibly model different types of system observables one by one. They are heteroscedastic, they are multimodal, so they are the best model that we found, and this is what we are using in practice now. So I hope this short video got you interested in this topic, and I would be very happy to meet you in the poster session.